Hey guys, welcome to Into Fly Fishing. My name is Pierre Hubert and today we're going to go through a step-by-step guide on how to tie a CDC and Elk. This is an adult caddis fly imitation derived from the very popular elk hair caddis. It's tied in a very similar way. Instead of using a hackle, we're incorporating a CDC body and underwing for the fly. The CDC gives the fly a lot of extra movement. Also, because the CDC is covered with CDC oil, the CDC fibers don't absorb water, so it stays afloat very well, and because of that ability to resist water retention, it also traps small air bubbles, which creates a very lifelike profile in the water. So the material that we're going to use to tie this, standard dry fly hook will be fine. I like using more modern sort of wide gape barbless hooks. The thread, I'm going to use a white Griffiths sheer 14-0, very fine thread. It's also a thread that lays very flat, and when choosing a thread for this specific fly, choose a thread that will lay flat and a thread that's easy to split, because we're going to be making use of split thread techniques to build the CDC abdomen and underwing. For the CDC itself, your favorite color or any color basically of CDC fibers, just make sure that you have CDC that has long sort of open fibers. You'll see these have quite long fibers. That'll just make the construction of the abdomen a lot easier and also give you this sort of fluffy look. For the wing, although it's called the elk hair caddis or CDC and Elk, on many of these flies I actually prefer using deer hair. So what you're looking for is deer hair that is very fine. It also has crinkle to it, which shows that the fiber is hollow, and the fiber is hollow all the way up to where the dark part starts. So you want the dark part for these small dry flies as short as possible, because the dark part isn't hollow. So you want to have a section of hollow fiber on your fly, and then just the tip of the dark part that sort of creates that lifelike wing that we like. Also, I'll be using Loon's thread wax. This is low-tax wax. Any thread wax would be fine. This will prevent the CDC fibers from falling out when you spin the CDC brush. And to finish the fly off, I'm going to be making use of Loon's water-based head cement. So that's the material. It's not that many material types. It's actually quite easy. For the tools are a little bit more involved. Obviously, you'll need a bobbin holder for your thread and a vise. On the vise, you don't necessarily need a rotary vise. It's fine if you have a normal vise. We're not going to be spinning the dubbing brush by using the rotary function. We're just going to spin the thread by making use of the bobbin, so it's fine if you have a fixed vise. To create the CDC dubbing brush, we're going to use two of Marc Petitjean's tools. This is a table clamp and this is just a clip. For this you can basically just use a normal paper clamp, that's fine. But I would suggest, if you are going to be working with a lot of CDC, invest in these Marc Petitjean tools. You get them in various sizes. This is, the standard kit comes with 3 different sizes, and this is the largest one in the standard kit. To brush out the CDC fibers, just get something like a little brush or a comb, normal short blade scissor, a long blade scissor that's used to cut the CDC fibers out of the clamp. I'll show you how to do that. And for the wing, a small hair stacking tool. And to finish the fly off, a whip finishing tool. So that's the material and the tools you'll need to tie this CDC and Elk. So let's get cracking on the step-by-step process. Okay guys, to get started on the CDC and Elk, place your chosen hook into the vise and lock it in place. 2 things that you should keep in mind when securing the hook in the vise is that the hook shank is level, and the hook point and the imaginary point of the barb. If you're using a barbed hook, that's fine. That'll obviously make it a little bit easier, but the point where the barb would be as visible as well as the hook point. Those will be used as references when tying the fly. So the first step is to secure the thread to the hook. A couple of wraps. Just cut off the excess. Run the thread forward and spin the thread just to flatten it out, and run the thread all the way back to the bend of the hook. Let your bobbin hang freely, and the thread should then intersect the position where the barb would be. We can make one more wrap. That's it. Okay, so the next step is to prepare the CDC for the brush. What we need to do is select a couple of long CDC feathers. They should be long enough for the table clamp that you're going to use. Just going to take out a couple here and then just measure them against the length of that table clamp. I think those three will do it. CDC is one material that I would suggest you don't skimp on. You get a lot of cheap material, especially coming from China these days, and they don't offer the same effect and quality as you would expect from CDC, and that just makes your flies not perform like they should. Okay, so take each feather and comb back the fibers like so that they are 90 degrees to the stem. Then place it on the table clamp like so to the stem. Now grip their tips and place it right in the middle of the table clamp, and then push down. I push the tips down first, grip them, and then slide the back or the base of the feather in as well, and then you heard that click. So now take a short scissor and just cut off the excess on this side. If you don't do that, it gets stuck into this little spring, and then when you transfer it to the clamp, it just causes some trouble. So now you've got these fibers that are all picked up, all folded up to the top. Now you take your clamp, your paper clamp, or this is just that Marc Petitjean clamp, you slide it over these fibers and you clamp it in place. Before opening the table clamp, I found it's much more secure if you pinch the clamp closed, and then you open the table clamp like that, and that is what you are left with. Here you'll see that the CDC fibers are all folded up, that you have minimal wastage. You're only going to cut off the stem. So now with the long blade scissor, try and make one even cut. A little bit short, that's it. One even cut. And that's basically what you throw away. So it's minimal wastage, you only throw away the stems, and you're left with all these perfect CDC fibers that are all folded up. So this clamp has got the CDC fibers that have been prepared now to be inserted into your split thread. So now that the CDC fibers have been prepared for the abdomen, you'll see that the thread has unraveled and will flayed flat in that time. So it's easy to split the thread at this stage. So what you can do is just place scissors or a bodkin in between the thread, and you'll see that it splits quite easily, like that. So to add some durability while spinning the CDC fibers, I just add some dubbing wax, holding my finger in between the two thread fibers the whole time. I then reach over and grab the CDC, and I place the CDC right in between two thread fibers that I just split open. I then very gently slide the clamp outwards so that just the CDC is trapped. I remove my finger and open the clamp, pulling tight on the bobbin. I'm left with that now. I then give it one good turn just to clamp down a little bit. I let the bobbin hang down while creating a 90-degree angle with this index finger of mine. I keep that in place, pull the bobbin down and spin the bobbin. Now it's just spinning, 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 keeping tension on the CDC, keep it spinning, keep it spinning. Good. Now that it spun quite enough, pinch the bobbin. You're at the right in front of where the thread exits the bobbin, and push the thread wraps forward, and that will spin the CDC into a brush. Then, while pinching just behind the brush, bring the bobbin back so that you have that. That's a nice CDC brush. Before wrapping the brush around the abdomen, I'm just going to comb out some of the trapped fibers with my comb. That. Now you'll see that the CDC only starts about, what's that, 1/3 of an inch back behind the thread. So I just have to wrap that a couple of times around the body just to get the CDC up against the hook shank. Now I palmer the CDC with touching wraps. I palmer it back. After every turn, bring it over, pull it back. Bring it over, pull it back. Touching turns, moving forward. It's fine if there's a trapped fiber here and there, but we're trying to free up as many as possible. Still moving forward. Like that. We left about small, just bigger than a head of a fly. We left about a couple of millimeters behind the eye of the hook. That is where we'll tie in the wing. Like that. So now, before we tie the wing, we're just going to take our comb and comb out any trapped fibers at the bottom, at the top. You can also comb it forward. See, that works well. Comb it forward. Comb it back. Like that. Now we're just going to clean up this area, pulling back any fibers. There's one or two, that's fine. Just leave yourself a little gap there behind the eye of the hook. Right, now it's time to prepare the deer hair wing. To prepare the hair in the hair stacking tool for the wing, take a section of your chosen deer hair and cut off a little clump. Remember, it's a small dry fly you're working with. You don't need a big tuft like you would when you are going to spin deer hair on big streamers and so on. So just hold the tips and just brush out any loose fibers. Also, I hold the base and just remove any short hairs. They can also cause some problems. Right, when you're left with that, you place them tips first into your hair stacking tool. Then you tap your hair stacking tool like that. You turn it very delicately and you take the hair stacking tool apart and you pinch the fibers, and there you have perfectly aligned deer hair fibers for your wing. Now you can transfer that to your hook. Now that the deer hair has been stacked in the hair stacker, remove the fibers from the hair stacker and measure against, just place it on the fly. So the measurement that we're going to use is the point where the hook turns. I'm going to move this a little bit forward so that you can see. The hook's bend is right there. So you want the deer hair wing to extend slightly over the bend of the hook. So once you've measured that, transfer to your left hand. Make sure about the measurement. Transfer to your left hand and cut the deer hair off. So the tying in point is right there. I'm going to cut it off just slightly longer. I just need to pinch it to get a nice even cut. That's it. From this point on, your left hand is clenched onto this deer hair. You won't let go until the fly is almost done. So place the deer hair right on top of the fly and make 2 wraps over it. 2 loose wraps. Now move your fingers forward, just pinch that wrap. Now you've in this essence created a pinch wrap. Pull down without breaking your thread and then make a couple more wraps. Now try and get your thread between the deer hair and the eye of the hook, like that. Make 1 more wrap. Now you can let go of the deer hair. The wing is secure. Pull back the fibers and get your thread in between the deer hair and the eye of the hook, like that. Get your whip finishing tool. Do 2 whip finishes. Just trapped some fibers there. Just want to comb them out. That. 1 more. And remove the thread. At this stage you're left with this buggy looking fly that we need to trim. The fly is not done yet. Going to comb out the fibers again. So what we want to create is a nice flat bottom area of the fly. So I'm going to pull down any fibers at the bottom, and then with 1 cut with a long blade scissor, just made a cut there. Apply out any fibers. There's 1 facing forward there. And just break off any fibers that are a little bit too long. That. There's 1 fiber there. The fly should have a nice wing to it. Also a small section of the deer hair material that's standing upwards and that's been cut for the head. And one of the most important parts is that the eye of the hook is still left exposed. That will ensure that you don't have any trouble on the streams when you are tying this fly onto your tippet. With a small drop of resin, just add some durability to the head. And that's how to tie a CDC and Elk. Obviously there are many more different variations. There are variations that you use a CDC feather that's just turned around the hook shank for the abdomen, and then you tie in a stacked CDC underwing. But I found that this is one of the fastest methods that produces really good results. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this step-by-step guide, and see you again. Cheers from Into Fly Fishing.